Hi, I'm Alain Mulder, Senior Director Europe Operations at IMA, the Institute of Management Accountants. Thank you for being with us today and welcome to this live stream. In this episode, we will update you on the results of the Global Economic Conditions Survey Q2 2020 and the impact COVID-19 has on our economies. So let's start. My name is Alain Mulder and I'm the Senior Director Operations at IMA, the Institute of Management Accountants, based here in Amsterdam. And today I'm in the Amsterdam office from where we serve the IMA members here in Europe. Management accountants are vital to the financial health of organizations. They make critical decisions, safeguard a company's integrity and plan for business sustainability. They might be CFOs and controllers, budget analysts and treasurers, or one of the many other game changers on internal teams. Most of all, as the majority of the accounting and financial workforce, they can help drive an organization's strategy and value amid an unpredictable market. First, a little bit about IMA. IMA was named 2017 and 2018 Professional Body of the Year by the International Accounting Bulletin, and is one of the largest and most respected associations focused exclusively on advancing the management accounting profession. And globally, IMA supports the profession through research, the CMA Certified Management Accounting Program, continuing education, networking, and advocacy of the highest ethical business practice. And IMA has a global network of more than 125,000 members in 150 countries and 300 professional and student chapters. We are headquartered in Montville, New Jersey, in the USA, and IMA provides localized services through its 7 offices around the world and 4 global regions: the Americas, Asia Pacific, Europe, and the Middle East, India. And IMA is the leading research for developing, certifying, connecting, and supporting the world's best accountants and financial professionals in business. So IMA certification for accountants and financial professionals in business is very interesting. And first I would like to tell a little bit more about that before we continue with the GECS. So the CMA is already for more than 30 years, IMA's CMA's credential, and has helped close the talent gap in management accounting, covering 12 of the most critical subject areas, including financial planning, performance, and analytics. And earning the CMA requires education, experience, and passing 2-part exam. It demonstrates a professional experience and proficiency in skills that are in high demand by organizations around the world. And one of the strengths of the CMA certification program is flexibility and the ability for CMA candidates to study at their own pace. There are a variety of convenient and flexible exam study options available here in Europe. And in collaboration with CMA course providers throughout Europe, we have organized multiple virtual and on-site CMA info sessions. And if you are planning to study for the CMA exam, these info sessions are a perfect opportunity to learn more about the different study options here in Europe. And later this year, we have on-site info sessions, and currently we hold multiple virtual CMA info sessions. Go to imanet.org for more information or to our social media channels. And here you also see the dates on when we organize the CMA info sessions throughout Europe. So let's now go to the Global Economic Conditions Survey, the GECS. What are the results for Q2 and what is the impact of COVID-19 on our economy? The GECS is the largest regular economic survey of accountants around the world in terms of both the number of respondents and the range of economic variables it monitors. Fieldwork for this 2020 was over 2,560 responses from ACCA and IMA members, including 200 CFOs. And the GECS has been conducted for over 10 years already. The main indices are good lead indicators of economic activity and provides a valuable insight into the views of finance professionals on key variables such as investment, employment, and cost. So the GECS looks at data from 3 distinct lenses. Global first, what is the overall picture of the global economy? Thematic, what trends are influencing confidence around the world? And regional, how are policies, government, actions, market conditions, and events impacting regional confidence. So what are the major takeaways for this quarter? Well, the changes measured concern that customers and suppliers may go out of business underlines the current extremely poor global economic situation. Both these measures had trended sideways in relatively low levels in recent years, but shot up to the record highs in Q2, minus 23% for suppliers and 47% for customers. The largest falls in orders are in North America and Western Europe, a sign of the collapse in activity, and these regions where lockdowns lasted through much of the quarter. Orders also fell away markedly in the Middle East actually, and hit by weaker oil prices as well as directly by COVID-19 effects. The mixed picture on confidence contrasts with the universal gloomy readings on activity indicators such as orders and employment. Recovery in confidence from Q1 lows can be interpreted as an optimism about economic prospects over the second half of the year. This is especially likely in Asia Pacific, which emerged from lockdowns and where confidence has rebounded strongly to its highest level in a year. So let's focus on North America also later on, but first we go to the global confidence. What we see is that special COVID-19 related questions in the latest GECS show an overall 50-50 split between those expecting economic recovery in the second half of this year and those not expecting it until some point in 2021. Regionally, there is a marked difference between an optimistic North America region and a relatively pessimistic Western Europe. There is now an expectation that the second quarter of this year will see unprecedented falls in GDP, reflecting the period of most severe lockdowns in many countries. But the second half of the year is likely to see an improvement as lockdowns are gradually eased and a temporary surge in output is possible as consumers meet pent-up demand for customer durables. But a sustained and robust increase in consumption and output seems very unlikely in the near term, actually because social distancing, of course, measures are set to remain in some form until treatments or a vaccine are widely available. And we hope of good news, of course, for that very soon. Consumer demand is likely to be held back by the weak confidence, especially in the inevitable increase in unemployment rates do not fall back quickly. Early expectations of a sharp V-shaped recovery have given way to anticipation of a very long period before the pre-crisis level of output will be regained. And our view is that for many economies, including the US, the UK, and the Eurozone, it will not be until the second half of 2022 at the earliest that the end 2019 level of output will be reached. So let's focus on North America now. In its latest economic outlook, the OECD forecasts contraction in GDP of around 13% over the first half of 2020 in both the US and Canada, followed by the modest recovery in the second half as lockdown has eased. What we see is that the plunge in the GECS employment index reflects a dramatic surge in unemployment, especially in the US, and this is a downside risk to a sustained recovery. And we all see it over the news, of course, what's happening with the unemployment rate in the US at the moment. Let's now focus on Asia Pacific. In Asia Pacific, what we see is that the confidence rebounded strongly to a one-year high after it collapsed in Q2. But for now, activity indicators remain weak. Orders fell slightly and capital expenditure by much more, while the unemployment index was steady at a record low. The Asia Pacific GECS is the latest negative of all regions this quarter. reflecting that lockdowns have been substantially eased by early June, but Asia Pacific is also reliant on exports for growth, so that economic prospects will continue to be hampered while the rest of the global economy is in a recession. The manufacturing PMI for China is signaling expansion in May, in contrast to all advanced economies that have such surveys. Retail sales data show a 2.8% fall over the 12 months to May, but this is well above the 20% annual declines recorded over January and February. And indeed, some categories such as personal care and telecoms are showing positive annual growth rates in spending. Nevertheless, GDP growth this year will be the weakest in 40 years at around 1% according to the World Bank, the 2020, and some restrictions remain in place, disrupting labor supply, and export will be a drag on growth given the poor state of the rest of the global economy. Now I want to focus on Western Europe. And the story is not really different. In Western Europe recorded a bounce in confidence in Q2, indicating a degree of optimism about future prospects. But the activity indicators point to a very severe recession with orders, employment and capital expenditure indices plunging to record lows. You can see it here in the visual. Of particular concern is the employment index, which suggests that despite the extensive use of furlough schemes intended to avoid large-scale redundancies, unemployment is likely to rise significantly. And that's all here in Western Europe. Let's now focus on the Middle East. The Middle East is one of only 2 regions where confidence fell in Q2, and it now has the lowest confidence level of all regions. Activity indicators also declined, and less than in most other regions, but still pointing to extreme and really extreme economic weakness. What we see is that oil exporters in OPEC are cutting production in an attempt to shore up prices, which collapsed along with the global economy. Despite a recent recovery, oil prices are still well below levels at the start of this year, and this is putting pressure on government budgets. Now I would like to go to South Asia. Confidence in South Asia fell further in Q2, possibly because the region was late to see the spread of COVID-19. Activity indicators also remain weak, and despite a slight improvement in the orders balance, the only region to show this, and remittances and tourism have been hit badly, and both are important in South Asia. But the inflation-prone region has seen a dramatic fall in inflationary pressures, and inflation concerns index fell by 25 points to just 20 in the Q2 survey. The long-run average is 51. What we see is that both India and Pakistan are heading for economic contraction, and this year, as pandemic mitigation measures hurt domestic demand and the global recession hits the export. And now I would like to focus on Africa. Both confidence and activity indicators fell in the Q2 survey, underlying the extremely weak economic outlook in the region. Commodity exporters are suffering from both lower prices and demand, and tourist arrivals have vanished. Fiscal policy support to offset the effects of social distancing and lockdowns is severely limited by poor public finances and inadequate health care systems. Falling GDP per capita across the region will increase extreme poverty significantly. Moreover, there are several additional channels through which economic harm is being transmitted to EMS. First, many EMS are heavily reliant on exports to advanced economies or of commodities, where demand and prices have fallen significantly as the global economy has entered recession. In addition, overseas tourism accounts for a significant proportion of GDP in many EMs. So the near ending of overseas visit is having a material effect on these countries. Other economies rely on remittances from migrant workers overseas to support domestic activity, but the value of remittances has fallen significantly as those workers have lost their jobs or being furloughed in their home country, or host country, I have to say. So what is the global outlook for 2021? Our base case is that there is no significant second wave of virus infections leading to renewed lockdowns, measures, and an inevitability to return to recession. More generally, the degree of so-called scarring will become apparent in coming quarters, how much permanent damage has been done to economies and certain sectors such as aviation, hospitality, and tourism. And crucially, how far and fast unemployment falling across economies. Our view is that the growth will not be sufficient to lift the level of economic activity to its pre-crisis level by the end of next year. And indeed, most advanced economies are not likely to reach end 2019 levels of output until at least the second half of 2022. The June OECD Economic Outlook contains two forecast scenarios considered to be equally likely. The second of these, termed double hit, involves renewed virus outbreaks in all economies in the second half of this year. The effect is to add a further 1.6% points to this year's global GDP contraction, taking it to the 7.6% where GDP falls over 14% in the UK. 11.5% in the Eurozone area and 8.5% in the US. So looking forward, our view is that growth will not be sufficient to lift the level of economic activity to its pre-crisis level by the end of next year, what we said, at least. Though uncertainties about the global economy remain, finance professionals can prepare themselves to serve as strategic liaisons for their organizations. So especially in these times, it's really key to be up to date with all your skills. We have the impact of COVID-19, we have the impact of technology, and so on. So as a finance professional, you need to be prepared and reskill and update your skills. The CMA, Certified Management Accounting Program, is a perfect solution for that. So I would really advise you to join one of our info sessions, virtual info sessions, on-site info sessions, or go to imaynet.org to learn more about the CMA program, to update your skills and to stay relevant now and in the future and prepare yourself for the future of finance. So this was today's presentation about the survey and the results of the Global Economics Conditions Survey. And I would like to thank you for watching, and don't hesitate to contact us if you have any questions left. You can get us on IMA Europe at imaynet.org or via our social media channels. And if you are located outside Europe, please contact us via ima@imaynet.org. If you like this episode, please let us know by liking it and also share it, so other finance professionals can gain from it too. And do you have a question left? Like I said, drop it in the comments of this video. And thank you for watching once again, and I'm looking forward to talking to you next time and welcome you on one of the IMA chapter events across Europe. For now, I would like to say goodbye and stay safe. Thank you for joining us.